Yep, exactly. You're going to have Viper with his slow. You're going to be able to avoid coming together and grouping up, which is what Power Ranger wants you to do. And instead, you're going to be able to make them take extended fights where these AoE-centric approaches to damage and to stun might not be as effective. So the last ban is out on the side of PR. They don't want the game to go late. No surprise out of that. They take out the Naga Siren, and we'll see what 4 Anchors has in mind for what PR might draft in that 5th position. In your opinion, what do you think would fit in the best here?
It's tough. I guess Power Rangers still have room for whatever their one role is going to be. They've already got 2 melee heroes, and Leshrac is fairly low range, so I feel like it probably has to be a ranged hero for that reason as well, just so that their tri-lane isn't too weak, and that, you know, picking something like a Lifestealer here is obviously a terrible, terrible idea against the Vipers. So something along those lines. Nothing really jumps out to me specifically. I feel like they've got the lockdown, so they can really just pick whatever they want to do damage. Some physical damage would be fantastic, especially against this Viper, who can be pretty difficult to bring down with all of the magical damage that they've got so far with the corrosive skin.
It's going to be Phantom Lancer,
okay.
And I actually really like
He's not ranged, but he's really mobile.
Right, exactly. And he's a hero that he's able to come to fights early, he's able to make a difference, and depending on how you want to build him, you can prioritize an early Diffusal Blade. A Diffusal Blade, even with the Keeper of the Light there to help with Chakram, I mean, it's just going to hurt them so much if they're able to get on top of these heroes. And 4 Anchors adds a little bit of AoE stun and a little bit of AoE damage to their lineup with the last pick of the Sven. So we're just about ready to get going, guys. Once again, I'm AC, and this is Space Skip, continuing coverage of the TI 5 qualifiers here at the EU Hub. You're here on the Yasha stream, and it's awfully good to be back casting. So everyone tune in. Thank you so much, not just for supporting this stream, of course, but for letting me have a chance to get back on the mic. So, but again, PR, the Phantom Lancer pick, I feel like is a nice compromise in terms of how they usually like the draft, which again is very high octane, very mid-game centric. Yep. And PL, how do you think they're going? What's their approach to the PL here? I don't think they're going to just take those 4 heroes, and the Leshrac, the Nyx, the Earthshaker, and the Witch Doctor, try to roam them and just say, okay, go farm all game Phantom Lancer. But they do have that option. What do you think is going to be the most advantageous for them?
The one thing that's nice about Phantom Lancer is that you can kind of put your build together on the fly. There are a couple of items that you can buy early on that commit you one way or the other necessarily to a particular late game timing or particularly early game timing, but in general what we've been seeing recently has been pick up a lot of your early game items, your Kila, your drum, a wand, and treads, and then a lot of people just go straight for the Diffusal Blade into a heart. You can add a little bit more greed from time to time, you know, throw in a slightly earlier Yasha. It's a very good farming item, and like I was saying, you can kind of see how the game is going, get a good read, and then adjust accordingly. There are lots of situations on Phantom Lancer where you need to pick up a Scotty, perhaps, or because you're getting kited, or an Abyssal Blade. Sometimes you need more right-click oriented and man-fighting items, and occasionally there is a need for, you know, much more split push and picking up your Butterfly and your Manta style and whatnot. So we'll have to see. I do think the hero has a lot of aggressive potential, and I'd like to see that this game, because Power Rangers, that's the kind of lineup that they've built, and I don't think it's going to be 4 Protect 1 by any stretch of the imagination.
All right, after a brief pause, we're back and underway, and it's going to be an aggressive look here in the early opening seconds of this series as PR is moving out with 4. They're up near the Radiant Side Secret Shop. We've just got the lone Nyx Assassin, played by Cheshire Cat. He's taking a look at this bottom lane. 3 are there from 4 Anchors as well. And I want to see if PR, yeah, it looks like they just want the runes. So didn't know if they were going to try to be making an aggressive move or not. We have 35 seconds. How about we take a look through our lineups, and we'll run through them beginning with 4AC. Beginning with the Nyx Assassin, it will be Cheshire Cat, as mentioned. It's going to be the Witch Doctor, played by King R. And continuing with our Electric Unicorn, it's going to be Sunlight, playing on the Leshrac. Earthshaker will be played by J4. And it will be Dirty Raw, handling the Phantom Lancer. Other side of the river, we've got 4AC, Tusk, being handled by Boogie. Trixie will be on your Viper. Keeper of the Light, played by Valix. Sven, played by Nymphy. And Queen of Pain, going to be handled by the one and only Matumba Man. And the rune spawn is going to be Sunlight, taking the rune at top, and down at bottom, it'll be the Queen of Pain snagging hers to get the game started.
Yeah, pretty standard start, honestly, from both sides here. 4 ASC are using the Keeper of the Light to block for their mid lane, so that should be a small advantage going the way of the Queen of Pain to start things out. Both players with a pretty similar build, a little bit more stats heavy from Sunlight, but nothing too shocking, though. Power Rangers looks like they are putting together somewhat of an aggressive tri-lane here. to put some pressure on this double melee lane from 4ASC. And yeah, both tri lanes actually double melee against a single with a single ranged tier kind of tacked on. So this could get kind of weird. Keeper of the Light is a pretty decent tri lane versus tri lane, especially if you can land a couple of clutch illuminates to burn through a lot of the enemy tri lane's regen. But there is the Witch Doctor who's going to pick up his Voodoo Restoration pretty quickly, so that should definitely help. Yeah,
if they decide to really just make this a bloodbath up at top, the Keeper of the Light, not just because of the Illuminate, but eventually the Chakra Magic, whenever you're talking a Sven who's going to be so mana-starved and really looking to capitalize on Stormhammer, which is so mana-intensive for that hero in general, that's going to end up being a big factor as well. So we'll keep an eye on top, but let's talk a bit about the mid matchup of Queen of Pain versus Leshrac. Give me the rundown.
I feel like we've only started seeing this matchup a little bit recently as the Lesh has started to become a bit more of a thing. So, but I think it's decent for the Leshrac. He's got a lot of pressure on the wave with Lightning Storm, so he doesn't really suffer in the same way that a lot of mids do against the Queen of Pain, just because they can't push out the wave and that frees her up to go and grab a bunch of the runes. So I think it's relatively even overall, but Matumba Man is actually playing really nicely at the moment. He's up to 8-1.
Action at top. Earthshaker was caught with some shards, but down to about a quarter health and no follow. Obviously, Trixie's going to be very happy with this. Should have all the farming once in the world, but rune spot, but this should be okay for the Nyx Assassin. I mean, his CS is not going to be as good as the Vipers, but he's certainly going to be over-leveled.
Yeah, this bottom lane is the one reason why I feel that going for the aggressive tri-lane is really strange from Power Rangers, because a lot of the time when you're going for the aggressive tri-lane, it's because you feel advantaged in the other lanes and you don't want the enemy supports to really get involved. But bottom lane is definitely a win for the Viper, and as we've seen thus far, mid lane is kind of a wash. So they do have to get a lot done, I think, to justify this top lane. And Ditchira also almost cops an Illuminate there, but not quite the coordination for AFC to end up landing that. So we're still just kind of farming away up here. Phantom Lancer's doing a tiny bit better than the Sven overall, but not really a huge deal.
Well, if, correct me if I'm wrong here, and I very well may be. Given that we're seeing 6 heroes in the lane constantly, Phantom Lancer is able to free farm by himself by dipping into the jungle a little bit better than Sven, especially with Sven not putting any points up. Hold on, action, we're going to have King R in trouble. There's a very good throw from the Earthshaker, but it's going to be a first blood drawn as PR loses King R to Velix on the Keeper of the Light. So shot one goes in favor of 4ASC.
Yeah, and Viper pulling really far ahead of the Nyx Assassin at the moment. Again, mid lane's still even, but I'm already starting to question somewhat the decision to go aggressive here. They are keeping the Tusk kind of pinned down and stuck in this lane, like you were saying. There's 6 heroes in the top lane at all times, and I think that helps keep the Leshrac safer on mid and means that there's less outside pressure coming in, but it looks like Power Rangers with that first death are already going to start moving around a little bit. The 4-minute rune is just about to spawn, and looks like that's going to be the next big point of contention.
A minute coming up, there's a fissure thrown from the high ground. There's going to be a snowball that catches sunlight. Nice bounce on the cast. They're going to follow it up. Nice shards to block off the retreat. Boogie's going to end up dying, and somehow Leshrac has managed to stay alive. Can he stay alive a little longer? Not quite, as Matumba Man manages to finish things off. Now he's going to try to get away. 10 seconds on his blink, but he may get another kill if they're not very careful, and he does. The Scream of Pain locks down a double kill for Matumba Man, and now the mana not there for a blink. He's going to have to try to hoof it. He's got help coming from the north. Velix right there, and yep, King R unable to follow it up, was looking for a cask and maybe some help, but didn't get it. 3-1, 4 anchors doing quite well here in this early game.
Yeah, really nice blink from Matumba Man, and just really good play from 4AC in general. They dodged both of the split earth between the snowball and then the blink away, so yeah, pick up a couple of kills, get out. Early game's looking good. They've got all 3 of the top spots on Last Hits and Denies right now, and for Power Rangers, it already feels like it's somewhat back to the drawing board, and you can just see it in the movement. J4 is making his way down to bottom lane at the moment. Looks like he just wants to try and set up shop and run some pulls, but Pull Camp is still blocked at the moment by a Dire Observer Ward, so he's going to have to wait around a little bit, though. Looks like a full lane swap is coming, though. It's an expensive investment.
Yep. We do have Boogie down here already, and I don't know that he's spotted any of... Yeah, of course he has. Never mind, they have a wolf down, so he knows exactly how volatile this has become. King R coming from the river, though. Gets eyes on him. There's going to be a Phantom Lance thrown from behind. There's a slow and the Maledict. damage. Is it going to be there? He's running for the Roche pit, knows his days are numbered. Roche going to be the one to claim to kill it with Seam, and he's going to wait it out. Well played, as he's able to deny himself on the big boy. So 2-3, but no credit that time.
Yeah, and drew 3 heroes across, so a little bit of wasted time there, unfortunately, for PR. Looks like Cheshire Cat's just going to be walking all the way to top lane. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite able to reach his level 6 before he got bumped away from bot, so unable to go into an immediate gank, and that's going to, I think, make 4AC feel a little bit safer with how things are going right now. Nyx Assassin being off the map in Fog with level 6 available is definitely a lot scarier than just the level 5 Nyx Assassin running around.
6-minute rune picked up. Witch Doctor got the bounty. Leshrac manages to grab himself a double damage in the bottle. Lesh has actually done, well, had been doing a little bit better. He's actually knotted up with Queen of Pain for the most part in CS. Now trailing by a little bit, but for the most part, he's got a decent start. Quap obviously has a good start. King R, not so much, as he's trapped between shards in the trees. Boogie by himself doesn't have the damage, though, and with all that support behind him, the fissure was thrown and there was no way to pursue.
Yeah, Fisher did a pretty good job of keeping Trixie away from just running over and right-clicking down the Witch Doctor as well, so very nicely played there by J4, though they feel like they're on the back foot already, and it's only 6 minutes into this game, and now that they've left the top lane, as we can see, Boogie is free to go and do exactly what he was hoping to this game, which is just run around and set things up on all the lanes, and this may have been all that PR were hoping to avoid by running their aggressive tri-lane, though.
Oh, nice fissure off the TP. Follow up with a split earth on the Boogie. And they should be able to finish him off. Shards a little late. And yeah, he was crossing over and unfortunately got caught out in no man's land as the Lesh spotted him as he was stacking this hard camp on the Radiant side. So very nice rotation. That time we're going to have Nyx Assassin under cover of Vendetta. He's here in mid, but there are 2 heroes from 4 anchors. And don't know that he's going to want to engage. Nope, he will. And he's going to go ahead and follow it up with the split earth. If they can get the quap, nope, not enough damage. And it's such a tricky decision to make. They may get him back. No, missed on the shards. There's going to be the snowball. Do they have the damage? Not quite. TP reaction makes them think twice about it. He actually didn't connect with the Vendetta before hitting the Impale. Yeah,
it's really tough because you just barely want to get the Vendetta hit and then not give the Queen of Pain enough time to blink away because the Impale does have a little bit of a windup, but like you said, that was exactly the reason that they missed that kill.
Yep.
Just not landing the Vendetta hit, and that was
just
really
it's a hard decision to make. Like at this level, you know, everyone is absolutely as high tuned as they're going to be playing for a slot in Seattle. So probably the better route to go ahead and bet on guaranteed stun as opposed to maybe he's going to react slow.
Yeah, the Queen of Pain blink does have a little bit of a windup, so there's that as well. But yeah, he just got a bit impatient and cast the Impale before the hit landed. It can be tough. Nyx Assassin has a fairly long attack animation.
Yep, there's a Vendetta. Just heard it. They're going to move Cheshire Cat up with King R. They've got 1 TPing in as well. That's going to be your Phantom Lancer. They want to take a run at Trixie. Trixie, unaware of the bug right behind him. There's going to be the Lance to follow it, taking his time, winding up with the Impale. And there's Boogie, though, to try to help out. Beautiful Sonic Wave. And they should be able to at least get 1 return. No, they get 2. And now, chasing down Dirty Raw on the side shop, that's a disaster for PR, as they give up 3 major kills, one of them being the Phantom Lancer, and of course, everyone surviving, and all of the cores from 4 anchors being in range for everything that happened there, and they're going to be ready to take a run at this bottom tier 1 tower, already missing a lot of health. God Strength pop by Nymphie, and it looks like they should be able to capitalize in a big way. And slowly and surely, Sven has actually climbed to the top of the CS board. He's at 56 and 21 now, and he's got 2,000 gold towards his next item. What are you thinking? I mean, if you want a Mask of Madness, he could have it, but looking at the other side with the stuns, the AoE, seems like something like an early BKB perhaps an option, or what do you think have in mind?
I think BKB is definitely on the cards, but probably looking at another item before that. Maybe a Blink Dagger if he feels like he really wants to run around and go and get ganking with the Queen of Pain and start to make some space for the Viper to just pick up farm and start to get some carry potential going. Mask of Madness is also relatively common, very good farming item. Sven doesn't really have all that many points up in the Great Cleave just yet, so it does look like Nymphie is playing a slightly more aggressive build, and I don't know, for that reason we might just be seeing the Blink Dagger come out of him.
Yeah, I really enjoy Blink Dagger Sven, especially with a lineup like this that, and we talked about during the draft, the fact that this is a lineup that's going to excel at 1, spreading out, 2, having mobility to get you out of trouble if you do overextend or get caught out, and then you can kite. You're going to be able to just bleed damage off onto them if you want to, and then try to isolate them and pick them off 1 by 1, and a Blink on Sven. Nope, it's going to be Mask of Madness.
Yeah, it's a really good farm.
Yep. I would have thought he would have grabbed it a little bit earlier, but whatever, taking his time. And now if you're PR, I mean, you still have a high-octane lineup that's going to be able to put some kills on the board. What's the approach now, as in the first 10 minutes, the game just hasn't gone your way?
Unfortunately, the only play that they really have available is to continue hunting with this Nyx Assassin. He's their only real form of initiation for the time being, so they do really need to get the Nyx Assassin rolling and then hopefully start to pick up get some catch-up, honestly, on these supports at this stage. King R, still level 4, exact same story for the Earthshaker. Pretty similar story across the across on the 4ASC side. They've got level 3 on Boogie, and actually now up to level 6 on the Keeper of the Light. So Valak's doing pretty well for himself. Though, yeah, I think that's the only thing that PR really have available right now. They could try and shift gears into just farming up the Leshrac and the Phantom Lancer and only looking to take up some fights in maybe 10 minutes time, but the full Tricore from 4ASC is definitely very scary here when you've got this this Nyx Assassin that PR probably feel that they need to use.
Yeah, I mean, the early game has, I mean, everything that 4ASC could have asked for really kind of came out of just flat out winning that aggro tri-lane at top. And their Sven is really just beginning to explode. He just took a stack in the jungle. He's continuing the jungle right now. And it looks like we're in for a little bit of a period of downtime, at least for now. But as the last hits continue to mount, the levels are beginning to separate themselves out as well. The level advantage really beginning to show itself. And, you know, this is where PR does struggle. Not to say that they don't have what it takes to get themselves out of this situation, but they like to be in control. They like to be the ones who set the pace and the ones who set the tone of the game. And right now, just trying to de-ward, trying to handle their jungle and make sure they have a little room to breathe. The warding actually has been quite good out of 4 Anchors as well.
Yeah, Boogie's just been running around everywhere placing wards. He got that one down between the tier 1 and the tier 2 mid, which has proved to be great. And they're just keeping tabs over the Radiant jungle at all times. And if you look at the warding from Power Rangers, it feels like they're just kind of holding themselves up inside of their own jungle and looking to try and grab some farm there before they actually move out and get anything else done. They're setting up a couple of stacks here and there. I think Sunlight might just clear that one himself to start grabbing some more farm. And they are handing the mid lane over to J4 to try and grab some levels and a little bit of progress to get started in this game. So they're adjusting nicely, but they are definitely getting out-farmed at the moment. And yeah, if you look at the graphs, pretty nasty.
Throws a fissure, maybe that'll save him. It will. Buys just enough time for a TP to run Matuba Man off. Cheshire Cat throws the impale, but it's not going to be on point. And I actually didn't see the deny, so well played. As yeah, it was Nyx who denied it as well. So 7-3, but in practicality, it's actually 6-2 if I'm not mistaken. But really, Matuba Man has had a great early game. The laning phase went his way. He actually was left completely alone at top lane for a significant amount of time. If you take a look at the top tier 1, he's worn it out. I mean, he farmed alone in that top lane for about 2 minutes and has really put himself in a fantastic position looking ahead to the mid game. Already has a point booster up.
Yeah, this Queen of Pain is actually already somewhat out of control, I would say, for Rangers. They do have a lot of stuns. Nice Carapace is going to reflect and illuminate here on mid lane, but Cheshire Cat unable to get in range for the impale, so yeah, Valak just walks away, and Power Rangers continue to kind of mill around as 5 over on their side of the map, as we will have a pause coming out. Well, it's not Dota without pauses.
Exactly. A little bit of connection issues. Right before that, we did see the Midas completed on Trixie and was taking a look at his build out, and it's been interesting. He's been sitting on a Bassy, some Treads, and a Ring of Health for quite some time now. I did see he picked up the Glove of Haste and was wondering if Midas was going to be the direction he wanted to go, and it is. So kind of a yard sale approach, but it's worked well, and honestly, not a whole lot's been asked of him. I mean, he's sitting at 2-0-1, but for the most part, that's been just reactionary, you know, being in the right place at the right time, and making things happen in that bottom lane, which has basically been his home. And, you know, we can see PR is really beginning to try to get some ward advantage out on their own. They have one that's about to expire in this bottom lane right up near the tower, and they've got a couple more, one in mid and one in their own jungle. But the pace has definitely been in favor of 4 Anchors, and PR wants to change that now as they've smoked, and they have a chance to catch Trixie. Perhaps, nope, looks like he should make it back to lane. We'll see if he's going to turn tail and head back to the tower, and he's going to head to the side shop, and they're going to go ahead and back off.
Yeah, they don't know that he's there. Unfortunately, there's no Radiant Vision in the area, and he was just farming the jungle recently, so not going to end up finding him. That is going to end up being a bit of wasted time, unfortunately, for PR, and that's time that they can ill afford to waste right now. And no level 6 on the Witch Doctor. Even just, you know, if they were higher level that had kill potential with just the Witch Doctor and the Earthshaker, though. Yeah, Phantom Lancer's coming in here, and they are looking for Trixie.
Trixie caught him behind the fissure. J4 going to move up, catches him with the Enchant Totem, and the damage should be there. J4 trying to get out. Will he? No! Coming from outside, from the river and from the wide side. Now they're going to turn around. Beautifully shot the Split Earth, though. However, Keeper of the Light is there. Matuba Man still trying to make use of that haste room. Continuing to run. It's a 3 for 2 thus far, and they managed to pick off the Leshrac. 4 for 2. And once again, things looking to be heavily in favor of 4 Anchors, as their reactions are just so good. It looked like that was going to be a sure kill on Trixie, but instead they converge and they make them pay. And this is where that tower advantage really begins to show. I mean, there's only 2 missing from PR, but they're so quick to respond to any kind of a threat. And even though they did end up losing the Viper, they certainly made PR pay their penance for it. So 11-5 now. And net worth-wise, we're beginning to see this chart separate like water and oil. At the top is Finn, behind that is Queen of Pain, then the Viper, then you've got the PL and the Lesh, who are sitting at about 3K less than the Finn. So those cores really having a hard time, especially the PL, who usually is quite good at playing catch-up.
Yeah, the Phantom Lancer not really finding a whole lot of farm. I think that's just mainly because he has to share everything with his entire team at the moment. A lot of the time when we're seeing Phantom Lancer, he's just acting as a sponge. His team is off doing things. You've got a relatively item-independent core like the Nyx Assassin.
Oh, hang on. Matuba Man in trouble in the Radiant Jungle, and there's an Echo Slam expended, I guess, just for celebration reasons. But actually, just it's a safe call whenever you're going on a Queen of Pain. Anything you can do to try to keep her locked down on the ground a little bit longer, even if it's not necessary, especially given how far ahead she is. That's the right call to make. So
that's a lot of gold.
Yeah,
actually.
For a single kill, 4 heroes standing in the vicinity. I think that was 4 or 3. Then yeah, you can see it's about what, a 1600 gold swing, 1650. Very nice.
They definitely needed that one. And this time around, no ridiculous response from 4ASC like when they went on Trixie and the entire team kind of showed up out of nowhere. So PR going to be very happy with that. And that is going to put Lesh among the top 3 for farmers here. So he's going to be pretty happy. It's almost up to, well, it's getting closer to his Bloodstone at the very least. And it's a big farm accelerator for the Lesh. So we can start to see him grow a lot once he manages to pick that one up. But 4ASD is still controlling the map really nicely. I'm a big fan of this Midas pickup, actually, over on the Viper. A little bit of attack speed with Netatoxin goes a long way, and I feel like people underrate Viper a little bit in terms of his late game potential.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say, yes, he's an amazing late game carry, but as he is still definitely better than, say, a semi-carry when scaled up. And I don't know if Power Rangers can necessarily deal with him all that well this game, especially if the Viper picks up, say, a right-clicking item and a BKB. Power Rangers just can't do anything at this rate.
Yeah, I really like, I mean, coming back, like you said, the Phantom Lancer is already behind. And the Viper, in terms of late game in this game, the fact that he's paired with this Finn, you know, one of the big knocks against Viper, especially against something like a Phantom Lancer, is he's single target only. So has a lot of trouble dealing with mass amounts of illusions and spam and so on. But with this Finn there, who is in great shape, sitting well atop the net worth at 8720, already has that Blink Dagger, as you had mentioned, and the Mask of Madness. His ability to just jump targets and blow them up is through the roof, and then Viper's able to track down any stragglers. You know, say your PL is trying to make it away. You've cleaved through the illusions, and there's no running away from this team. And the mobility is really going to be a big question, I think, looking ahead. Nyx Assassin has about 1,900 gold in the bank right now. Blink Dagger, you think? Next item?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the go for your Nyx Assassin here. And whether or not that's going to start turning the game significantly, I'm not sure, but it does seem like kind of the natural pickup. And looks like we can try and
Keeper of the Light, by the way, has quietly built 3/4 of an Aghanim Scepter, by the way. Just noticed.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, like, and you're talking, like, if he stays on point right now, he needs another 1,000 gold, one good fight, or a little bit of time with a smidge of farm priority. He's going to have that by 20 minutes, and that's problematic.
Yeah, and Viper with any kind of sustain backing him up turns into a disgusting siege engine. He just sits on the front lines, tanks through everything. Looks like Viper's even going for a hood here, so he doesn't care
That's awesome.
about magical damage in the slightest. And oh man, Nyx Assassin just gonna. Well, again, I was a little bit questioning whether or not the Blink Dagger was going to have an immediate impact and start to turn the game. But this Midas feels... It's not a feel-good Midas for Cheshire Cat. That's for sure. We're 17 minutes in. It's a very big gold investment, and for ASC...
Well, you're not talking a hero that's going to benefit from attack speed. Like,
no.
Like there's literally nothing to be gained here other than let's give ourselves maybe a hope for the late game. And that's okay. I mean, it's a little bit out of, based on what traditionally PR is known for, it's a little bit out of that wheelhouse. But, I mean, PR is a talented team. Problem is they're taking on another talented team who, with this kind of a lead, is going to be quite a hurdle to get past. So Cheshire Cat, eyes on Matumba Man, has some help collapsing from the north. They're going to catch him. There's the mana burn and beautiful chaining of the stuns. And that right there is what they drafted for, the ability to do that over and over and over again. They just have lacked the ability to put it all together. In the meantime, though, a little bit of split push on mid as that that mid-tier one has taken some damage. They're going to react in 4, sending 4.
Yeah. PR just kind of putting out fires at the moment. Holding on to their mid lane, still trying to hold on to their jungle so the Phantom Lancer can continue farming without being interrupted too much. And like you said, it does seem like they're just shifting gears into hoping that going late is going to be the answer. I do worry a lot against the Sven. Mask of Madness and to a lesser extent Blink Dagger are both amazing farming items, so he can be clearing out the entire jungle pretty much every single minute and just continue to get more and more stacked. And yeah, Nemphy is also totally uninterrupted in his farm so far. He's got, what, almost 200 CS, which is 70 ahead of the Phantom Lancer. He's huge. He's
like 300 gold from a BKB. Like, he's going to have that in no time. He's going to continue to make the rounds in this jungle, and then, yeah, Magic Immunity going to be where it is. I just heard a Sonic Wave.
Yeah, solo kill on the Phantom Lancer.
Yep, missed that one. Sorry about that. Hopefully you caught it on camera.
Only the end of it. I was not expecting Matumba Man to be jumping in there, but they've got great vision in the Radiant jungle. And that's what's getting scattered at. Yeah, there's some pings from the Leshrac as well. Like, okay, they found you farming. There has to still be some kind of vision in the area. Power Rangers have done their best with the limited gold that they have on their supports to continue dewarding, but it's just been so hard.
Nemphy's BKB's on the way as they move into the Roche pit, and this will be an Aegis for our big rogue knight, I would imagine. You think they put it on him or maybe the Viper?
Oh, they're all actually pretty solid Aegis carriers here, so
I just feel like the Viper and the Sven are the most likely to get focused down and caught out. We'll see who they're going to stick it on. Nope, it's going to be the Quap, and as is tradition, AC's wrong.
Yeah, I think it's worth it just because the Queen of Pain's just picked up the Aghanim Scepter. So one, she hasn't gone for a BKB, and she's very vulnerable against all of the chain lockdowns, so the Aegis ensures that she gets her spells off. And there's a chance when you got the Aghanim Scepter upgrade that you can actually get 2 ultimates off in a fight if it drags on long enough. And like we were talking about earlier, that is something that 4ASC can do if the fight starts to go bad, that they could just kite around things and look to win it that way. So I think it's well worth it for Matumba Man. And Sven's already got an EKB, Viper's got a hood. I don't see either of them necessarily dying in these upcoming fights.
Pretty sure that's a Scepter. Yep, Scepter's done on Keeper of the Light.
Yep.
So I believe the push is on as they've gathered 4 at top. And the 5th, I'm sure, will join them soon. Matumba Man kind of continuing to do his own thing down at bottom. But top lane looks to be the target. And if you're PR, what's going to be your approach to what you know is going to be a massive team fight that, in a lot of ways, could determine whether you're going to stay in range in this game?
Nah, you got to dodge. You got to try and take. Dodge. You got to try and take some tier 1s. I don't think you can fight this into this Aegis at the moment. Maybe if you get some scouting info and you know that someone on 4ASC isn't there and it's actually a 3v5 or something along those lines. Like if they knew that Matumba Man was running down mid at the moment and wasn't just sitting in the fog behind the rest of the team, then maybe they have more of a chance. Ditchira TPing at mid lane, finds a spot in the trees, and he's going to get out of there.
Well played. PR takes some damage to the top tier 2, but for now, looks like 4 Anchors is all set to reset. Matumba Man and Boogie are making their way across, though. And, you know, with the mobility items out now, Nemphy with the Blink Dagger, the Queen of Pain, I mean, this feels so risky. Like, if PR is going to dodge, it feels like they need to dodge hard. Right now, they're kind of trying to slow down this push, but you think there's a major risk they just flat get caught out?
Yeah, the other problem is that they're kind of screwed because Keeper of the Light is one of the best anti-split push heroes in the game. I mean, people talk about how Wisp turns any carry into a split pushing carry. Keeper of the Light does the exact same thing in being able to, okay, Creed of Pain can go and clear out mid lane and push it out.
Here we go, BKB. And that's what I was talking about. If you're, you know, and like you said, it's rocking a hard place. Like, you can't really reliably split push, but the mobility is so huge on them that they're going to be able to punish you for that. If you try to hang around and even slow them down. Dirty Raw's been spotted. Nymphy's on top of him. Uses the war cry, trying to chase it down. Dirty Raw does have a TP. And trying to hide. Looks like Nymphy actually gave up on it. So assume that either it was illusions or that he just had previously gotten away. So dodging a bullet there, and it ends up being a Keeper of the Light who died in bottom lane.
Under his tower bottom lane.
Cheshire Cat getting the job done.
All right, so picks up his Blink Dagger a couple of minutes after the Midas, but PR is still kind of hanging on at the moment right now. The Aegis is still up for another 2 minutes, so probably another easy opportunity for 4AFC to go and get something done. And Nymphy is once again going to come up empty-handed as he goes blinking and looking for a kill there.
It's 8-13. Net worth-wise, those gaps, honestly, not getting as wide as you'd think, except for, I don't know, the Sven's roughly as far ahead as he was, about 3,000 gold ahead the top core. The problem, though, is that PL is still just really underfarmed. And they really haven't been able, and you're the one who made mention of this, they haven't had a chance to give him a lot of room. Everyone's just kind of being leached off of and or leeching off him, depending on how you want to look at it. And what do you think's the next step for PR? I mean, you're losing towers, you haven't taken that knockout blow yet, but you are slowly bleeding to death. Boogie's going to spot J4. On the thought from that Walrus Punch, Sonic Wave, and yeah, there was an Echo Slam. Yep. But so 4 anchors adds another kill to their total. They're going to try to follow this up, though. Leshrac using Edict, but unable to find anyone. Cheshire Cat under cover of Vendetta. That is a level 2 Vendetta. And yeah, 4 anchors is ready to fight. They're not willing to back off. I just heard a Stormhammer that's going to be on King R. King R is going to end up dying behind that. In the meantime, a Tomb of Men back on top of Sunlight. There's going to be an impale on a Boogie across the way. Unable to stun Sunlight out of the TP out. And now Cheshire Cat, yep, able to make it as well, as he did get hit with the shards, but did not interrupt the TP. So I think 4 anchors is actually playing this quite well. They're not taking fights that they're at an inherent disadvantage at, but once they reset and are able to say, okay, now we're even, they know they have the lead and they're willing to over pursue.
Yeah, and I don't even know if there's such thing as over pursuing for ASC at this stage. They're just so far ahead. All of their cores feel not necessarily unkillable, but it's going to take a lot of focus fire from PR. And we're seeing exactly what I was talking about with the Keeper of the Light here. Trixie can comfortably TP top, show himself in the lane, push things out. There's a bunch of heroes showing bottom, but the threat is always there that they could just bring the Viper anyway with the recall. And you know, even Matumba Man just chilling out on mid lane, stopping the push. 4ASC might very well win this game with all of their tier 1 towers standing.
They're trying to make a run at it. That was a nice dodge by Dirty Raw as Boogie threw or rolled up into the snowball. Behind that, Cheshire Cat trying to keep an eye on things. About a quarter time left on his Vendetta. Has to be really careful. He needs to get south right now. Nope, they got him. They got a few of them anyway. And Nyx using the impale following the Carapace. Buys a little bit of time, but that's all he buys. That and a coffin. As now 4 anchors doubling up PR and kill total, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. And, you know, PR did their best to try to reset this fight, but from the moment that tri-lane at top failed, it just felt like they've been scratching and clawing, basically trying to keep their head above water and only barely succeeding.
Yeah, I mean, they really gambled on top lane. Like we said, bottom was a loss, mid lane was kind of a wash, and top lane was definitely a loss. And in this version, you can get an early lead, you can hold on to it, and I don't feel like you have any reasonable expectation of coming back if you lose all 3 of your lanes, or almost lose all 3 of your lanes. And especially with having to move around as well to adjust the investment of TPs and time to rotate, that ended up costing them even more heavily. So, and now they're just super far behind. Sven is huge, he's got his Crystallis up, he can grab a Daedalus before too long, and their towers are just getting flinked away at by a hero that they can't do anything against. The Viper, backed up by these Illuminate heals, is impossible to initiate on.
Well, he just finished a pipe as well, so...
High ground time.
Yep. Talk about high ground, somebody tell Gerg. The net worth has long since eclipsed the 5-digit mark at 10,000, or excuse me, closer to coming up on 14,000 experience, and gold is actually much worse, sitting right at about 15K. So, I mean, I guess if you're PR, I don't even know what you're hoping for here. And, you know, this is where I'd like you to enlighten me. I mean, wow, Matumba Man adds another kill to his total, once again solo killing and Earthshaker. So, but if you're PR, what's your best case scenario as you're waiting and you know they're going to push high ground now?
You somehow farm a Blink Dagger on your Earthshaker, and he Echo Slams all 5 of their team.
Okay.
And then you followed up with a Split Earth, and then you follow that up with an Impale, and you dropped Maledicts before all of this happened, and then 4ASC might not even be dead.
Yeah,
so,
as you were listing that off, I'm thinking, okay, they've got Pipe, they've got Coddle, they've got
BKB.
Mobility, yeah, they've got BKBs. So,
they might have an Aegis.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's at least the smallest chance. But
I mean, honestly, it's, and you know, it's not to say PR has necessarily played poorly. They took a big gamble and were unable to execute, but I'm really impressed with how 4 Anchors has looked. And PR is really a team that they don't just gamble and hope. Like, you know, they're a team who knows how to take those gambles in a smart way, and they know how to usually adapt in the first 20 minutes. But at 30 minutes in now, I mean, we saw the desperation Midas come out of the Knicks, slightly delayed his blink, but like you said, I don't think the blink was going to make that big difference anyway, so Midas, I think, is a fine pickup in that. And you got to keep coming back to the Keeper of the Light. He has just been abysmally behind everyone else, and they're going to try to get something going with a 5-man smoke through their own jungle. There is a sentry right there, but yep, and a ward, actually. So if they're watching, perhaps. Nope, they're just going to go ahead and back off. Roshan is back up, and perhaps we'll see an Aegis Roche fight before we look to high ground. And if they end up trying to go for Roche and taking a fight against PR, wouldn't surprise me to see PR GG.
Yeah, this is a very all-in move. They've got a little bit of vision around the pit, which is not something you can say for anywhere else on the map. This ward up on the high ground is just about to fade, but they do still have another ward that they've placed, and they're just hoping that they can find some kind of random pick-off here on somebody coming to clear out the Radiant jungle. But 4SC staying grouped up, playing together. There's nothing actually that would indicate something really suspicious going on from the PR side. The lanes are not necessarily all the way up against the base, but it looks like 4AC honestly just wanted to smoke up to go in and grab this Roshan. And with the Aegis in hand, that's where the siege can really begin, especially since they're going to be picking up the Aegis as they start the transition into the next day cycle. And that's really where they want to be to get this Keeper of the Light high ground siege going. So they're making sure that absolutely everything is going their way before they risk anything against the PR base. And I mean, they're so far ahead, but I like the discipline from 4ASC.
Yeah. And if they really want to wait it out, they've got the Mystic Staff on Matumba Man. Never mind. I thought he was a little further away than he was, but not the case. He's able to finish off his Hex. So with a Hex and now a Blink did come out on the Earthshaker, so saying there's a chance, maybe.
All right.
But the trick is you got to get it before Pipe goes up. Otherwise, basically you're just burning Pipe. The Phantom Lancer is beginning to put together something now. I mean, he's getting closer to his Mantis style. He's picked up the Yasha and the Ulti Orb. So, I mean, if they can just get one good fight under their belt, maybe they can keep their nose above water a little bit longer. It's just going to take, I think, a number, not a single, but a number of mistakes out of 4ASC for that to come to pass.
Yeah. And 4ASC just gearing up at the moment. Mid lane's in a good position. Bottom lane is sort of irrelevant at the moment. No one on Power Rangers has actually been able to make it outside of the base to go and get any kind of split pushing done. So both teams locked here until the end, it would seem.
Well, they're going to try to go high ground. And taking some damage in the meantime. There's a nice shoot with the Split Earth on Nymphy. Nymphy is holding the Aegis, so he's not really concerned with it. And they're actually burning him down fairly effectively. Force Staff gets him out of the way a little bit. It's going to allow him to heal up with an Urn Charge. But that's not that bad. I mean, they got some damage done to the tower. But if you know, I look at it as one of those situations where you know you're going to have to take some of that damage. But if you make them reposition over and over and try to go up high ground every time, the chance of them making a mistake gets higher and higher every time. So not a bad stall from PR. Still in a very desperate circumstance, but trying to hold the line just a little bit longer.
Yeah, 4SC honestly just need to wait for daytime so they can get that heal coming out of the Keeper of the Light. That's really the one thing that Sven is counting on here. And they've done some decent damage to the Tier 3. Power Rangers still have their glyph available. They send a couple of heroes off on the map down towards bottom lane right now, in fact, but looks like I think Matumba Man was just there, but he's already been recalled over and ready to continue the siege.
Pipe was popped. Glyph popped in response. Pipe still has a little time left on it. Actually, quite a lot of time, but they're going to continue to go high ground. There's going to be the BKB, and he's going to engage. Catches out Sunlight all alone by himself. Uses the BKB of his own, trying to make a run for it now. Can they return fire? Nymphy cut off by the Fissure, but he really doesn't care. He's so tanky, has the Aegis. They're unable to bring him down before. Now we're going to have Sunlight move back in. They're going to be able to pop the Aegis pretty easily. Cheshire Cat right there as well. And the follow-up should be here. And yep, there's going to be an Echo Slam, but not nearly enough as J4. Oh, beautiful three-man stun as Nymphy re-engages off the Aegis, showing the blink off in the meantime. Sunlight denies himself, and Cheshire Cat gonna make it a full five-man wipe as he eats the dust. 22-8, racks are down, and GG's probably not far off.
Yeah, 4AC are all still pretty much full HP, and they're gonna stay that way courtesy of the Keeper of Light. So. What did PR have? They got one buyback available on Leshrac, but he's going to respawn in a couple of seconds anyway. Phantom Lancer is dead for 30 seconds, and yeah, there you go. Power Rangers just gonna call out the GG, and have to see if they can put something a little bit better together for Game 2.
I'm so impressed with the way that 4 Anchors handled that, and again, it's not like they're going against some Tier 2 team here. You know, it's not like they're playing, and well, I mean, depending on how you want to rank it, in these qualifiers, it's not like they're going against a weak team comparatively within the entire roster of the qualifiers, you know what I mean? And they were able to just dismantle the entire playstyle that PR wanted to throw at them. We can come back to the aggressive tri-lane that didn't work out in top lane.